Hello, right, so this next video will be me stripping the inlet manifold of its various components. I'll be stripping down and cleaning the inlet manifold along with removing the idle control valve because I seem to have a bit of an idle issue or stalling issue. If I'm coming up to a set of lights and the car suddenly come to a standstill or to a stop, the revs will drop right down and sometimes stall. So I did adjust the idle screw, and it currently idles from cold about 1200 RPM, which obviously is too much. But it then made sure that if the revs did drop down, then they wouldn't go all the way down to make a stall. So yeah, let's make a start and see where it takes us. Right, so now that everything is pretty much stripped off, we can have a better look. So, starting off with the throttle body, just get a torch. Yeah, it's pretty caked up in there. Nothing that we can't sort. Let's move this around. So there is the twin solenoids at the back. So this is to do with the factory VRIS. I think that's what it is. Basically, when the RPMs rise to 3,500, 4,000 RPM, a secondary butterfly opens up. I'm gonna guess it's that small one. I'm not entirely sure. Don't know how it works. It could be this top one, but get that light. Again, seen better days. Let's open that up. Yeah, definitely could do with a clean. So, yeah, plenty to do. That's the other butterfly. I'm doing a terrible job at trying to light up. So you can see all the crap and debris and whatnot. So yeah, lots to do. One bolt did snap on the top here. Where is it there? The front. That's just um, a cable tidy clip for the ignition leads. So nothing of too great of importance. So I've put the bolts back underneath, or on the side, sorry, just so I don't lose them. Just need to do the same with underneath. Talking of underneath, so this was under the inlet manifold, and that's the takeoff, vac takeoff that I broke earlier, or it was broken before. I'm not entirely sure, so I don't know. I'm assuming this is something to do with the VRIS system and whatnot, but that'll all get cleaned up, and hopefully I can get another one of these. These just feel empty, but I'm sure they obviously have a purpose. So fuel rail, this link pipe which went on the side here. They're the O-rings that I bought because I knew that I wanted to split this if I was going to paint it all. That's a good job I did, because obviously this is looking a bit worse for wear. Yeah, and as I said before, inlet manifold will get, not inlet manifold, throttle body will get stripped and cleaned and whatnot. So yes. So before starting the day, I decided to pop out and get a replacement inline filter, or sorry, one-way valve for these vacuum chambers. So as I went to go pull the original valve off, I ended up snapping the T off the chamber itself. So not a good start. So I've got a 5mm joiner. I drilled out the hole. It's not in line, but I don't think it really matters too much. Drilled it out to 5mm, cut the straight joiner down. I've pushed it in. It is a tight fit so far. So what I'm now going to do is epoxy JB Weld that on, and then I've got a replacement one-way valve. So instead of having the filter this short and then another piece of vacuum line coming up, which then goes through these two here, I'll probably extend the vacuum hose so it's longer, just so if there's an issue later on with this, it's a little bit more accessible. Probably will see it if you looked hard enough, but it's going to be easier than stripping the whole inlet manifold down again, just to gain access to it. So yeah, so I'll glue that. That can dry while I start prepping everything else. I did make a start on cleaning everything. So the throttle body, you can see I've sort of scraped most of the larger stuff off with a screwdriver, and the inlet manifold is looking a little bit cleaner. I ran out of brake cleaner, so yeah, again I had to go out anyway. So let's try and flip this over. So look a bit worse for wear. Get a torch in there, but that is much cleaner, I think, than before. Still needs a bit more. So I'll attack that as best as I can. Limited tools, unfortunately, but it's going to be better than what it was. And then I can get round to prepping the inlet manifold for paint. So, yeah, busy day. I want to apologise for the lack of videos. I had an issue with a snapped bolt on the idle control valve, so it took ages to sort that out. But yeah, I just cracked on. So, got a little painting line going at the minute. So that's the back blank on the inlet manifold for the second butterfly. You got idle control valve, inlet manifold link, and then you got the actuators for the VRAS, and then the float body itself. So just got to do one more coat on here. Focus. One more coat on this one, on the inlet manifold. Then I can lacquer all of it. So I've done some brackets in tough satin black as well. So yeah, it should look pretty good. So yeah, a little update once it's lacquered. So while the other bits are drying with the lacquer, I'll turn my attention to the rocker covers. So Tom, the previous owner, had painted this prior. I think he's tried a wrinkle type paint. I'm not entirely sure. It looks wrinkle, but so I've sprayed the underneath with some brake cleaner just to clean up a little bit. I've removed the sort of washers that the rocker cover bolts used to sit on. So I don't know if it will. I think it is chipping in some places. Well, I'll give it a go with some paint stripper and see what it's like. I know using paint stripper is it can be a bit of a tedious job, but yeah, see what happens. I'll probably end up going over it with the wire wheel anyway on the drill, but at least this way the paint stripper might soften up a bit. Probably too much, but there we go. It's got a gasket scraper. Let's see. It's sort of coming off. Right, this is going to take a little while, so I'll crack on with this. I don't know where I put my tripod, to be honest. See if I can find it. So that's the left bank rocker cover now down a bare metal. I did end up using a wire wheel just to finish off the little hard to reach bits, and then that's the other side, so before and after. Pretty happy with how it's turned out. So I'll make a start on the other one, and then they'll be both ready for primer. So the other pieces are now dry. I had 2 coats of lacquer. Considering this cast aluminium, and obviously it does have a slight texture, hasn't come out too bad, to be fair. Very happy with it. Please excuse the absolute chaos that's this workbench at the minute. Right, so the inlet manifold side is all done. I'm now starting to unmask the various components. So the throttle body there does look much better than it did. So yeah, just need to fit the idle control valve to the bottom. On the inlet manifold itself, the top 2 bolts, well, they're studs sticking out, so I'll probably have to reuse the bolts at the bottom, and I should have some 8mm stainless nuts to do the top. If I just take the throttle body off, so I don't know if you'll be able to see it clearly on the camera, but that's looking a lot cleaner. So I'll unmask that. Yeah, and so once I've put the plate back on, the link pipe, I can then start doing the solenoids on the back and fuel rail. So yes, let's begin. Don't know what happened with my phone, but for some reason it's missed out loads of the video in. The last point I was doing the solenoids on the back. It didn't show anything I'd done with the throttle body or the fuel rail or anything like that. So I apologise. I don't know what happened. So I've now bolted on the vacuum chambers back on. Ran an extended piece of vacuum hose ready for the filter. So that can be done nearest the time when I fit it on the car. So yeah, let's flip this back over and I'll show you the progress. So fuel rail is back on. Just need to find my 8mm Allen key socket just to double check the main bolts. Throttle body, idle control valve now back on, and yeah, it's pretty much there now. So there's a couple of brackets still, but I can figure that out when I go to put them on the car. So yeah, I think the next stage is to reassemble on the vehicle. So it turns out that the Action 4 battery and my phone battery died without realising, so I just cracked on with it. Unfortunately there's no footage, but here she is, all done. Very happy with the outcome. So I've still got a couple of P-clips to fit. There's one bracket that I still don't know where it goes, so hopefully I can get that done. I snapped the dipstick handle off. Luckily, there's a company in Europe, Jazz Performance. They specialise in MX-5 parts, and they make this cool little polished handle which goes over the top of the broken dipstick and just holds on with a little grub screw. So I've replaced most of the hardware with stainless, making sure that I used Loctite before tightening them. The rocker cover bolts were torqued down to 9 Newton meters of torque. It's recommended between 4 and 9, I believe. So this front breather pipe got painted. The bracket holding this wiring got painted. Various brackets across the engine bay, tow hook. I've tidied up the ignition leads as best as I can. I'm going to put a P-clip here using this bracket, or bolt, should I say. Yeah, just to try and tidy it up, really. Took a little bit longer to put back together because my JB Weld barb that I put on had snapped when I was trying to fit the hose. Annoyingly, it was the last job of the day. Then ran the car, make sure it wasn't leaking any oil, and I can hear like a suction noise coming from around about the middle of the inlet manifold. So I think that hasn't sealed correctly. So I'm going to have to get another vacuum chamber from somewhere. Haven't test driven it yet. I'm just hoping that it isn't too bad and it is drivable. So we shall see. Strop braces on. These are just some nuts that I found in the car. They're not the correct ones. I did buy some stainless ones to replace all of them, but I bought coarse thread, not realising they were metric fine. So yeah, that'll get done at a later date. But I think that's pretty much there. I think the strop brace is bent up this side, and that thread on that stud isn't exactly long, so I need to look into that. But no, I'm very, very happy with how it's come out. I do apologise for the lack of videos. It was a rookie error on my part. So yeah, I'll make sure that I try not to do that again. Try and film some more of me actually working on the car like I did in the first part. But it's all a learning curve. So yeah, tell me what you think. Do you like the yellow? It's a bit hard to show in this light. I think it's now 7 o'clock at night, so low light. But yeah, it does pop in the sun. Thanks for watching.